London's Mayor Sadiq Khan has splurged millions of pounds to deal with the biggest problem facing Britain's capital. Is it soaring violent crime, anti-Semitic mobs roaming the streets, or an insane lack of housing that's led to people renting out tents in living rooms? No, Sadiq Khan has spent £6.3 million of taxpayers' money to give some trendy names to train lines. Transport for London paid the swanky branding agency DNCO 6 figures to conduct creative community engagement with underrepresented groups to explore decolonisation and queer histories over 5 months of naming research. The agency website says, "We started by riding the entire network, getting a sense of the line personalities and the communities they serve. It also gave us the chance to conduct over 150 customer intercepts, hearing from everyday Londoners about what makes the Overground special. We quickly learned about the network's low cognitive load. Its lighter, cooler, quieter journeys meant that the Overground is often preferred by vulnerable groups and those with neurodivergent needs. We also had the privilege of interviewing leading historians, academics and transport specialists, delving into topics such as LGBTQ+ histories, East End migration and the fascinating world of London slang and linguistics." London slang? I think they're telling porcupines, because after all that Jack and Dannying around, the names they came up with are pony and trap, and there's no hint of indigenous Cockney culture. They came up with names like the Lioness line, the Windrush line, the Mildmay line and the Suffragette line, which celebrate women's football, women's rights, an AIDS hospital and the boat that brought people from the Caribbean to the UK. And, hilariously, the names they chose aren't as woke as Sadiq Khan thinks. Loads of suffragettes such as Mary Richardson moved on to support the British Union of Fascists, and anyone who stands up for women's rights today is castigated as a TERF or a trans-exclusionary radical feminist. As for the Lioness line, well, lioness is a gendered word like actress, which will probably be a criminal offence to say in about 3 weeks' time. Many of the Windrush generation were wrongly deported by our hopeless government, who let acid attackers stay in the country and instead deport hard-working Caribbean people who've fully integrated with British society. £6.3 million well spent. Well done, Sadiq, you Berkeley hunt. A consultee said, "More than just tracks and stations, the Mildmay line symbolises a journey of acceptance, love and belonging, a vibrant thread connecting our collective past, present and future." Listen mate, the Mildmay line is just a train that takes you from one crappy part of London that smells of weed to another crappy part of London that smells of weed. Train lines should just tell you where the train goes. London's Bakerloo line goes between Baker Street and Waterloo. The Hammersmith and City line goes between, can you guess it, Hammersmith and the City. The Victoria line, wonder where that goes? That's right, it goes to Victoria. How's anyone supposed to know where they're going when they get on Sadiq Khan's Tampax line, or the Wakanda Forever line, or the St George Floyd line? They should have just let the public decide these names. Twitter polls are free. For no money whatsoever, we could have had better names like Tubey McTubeface. In fact, I came up with better names on the train this afternoon. We could have a missing acid attacker line. Will he pop up at one of the stations and spray chemicals in your face? Who knows? It's all part of the fun of living in a vibrant multicultural city. We could have a Hamas chief given a council house line in celebration of taxpayers' money spent by Labour-run Barnet Council to subsidise international terrorism. We could have a state overreach line where police will arrest you for silently praying in your seat, putting a gender-critical poster on your door, or singing a Christian hymn in public. We could have a Mizzy line where you get threatened with violence while being filmed for TikTok by some kid who doesn't know who his dad is. We could have a blatant anti-Semitism line rammed with uninformed wokists and Islamists chanting for the extermination of Jews without any repercussions from Sadiq Khan's police force. The Guardian has come out to defend the new names, saying that £6.3 million is nothing. Nothing! Socialists are always very generous when they're spending other people's money, aren't they? £6.3 million might be an acceptable amount to spend on something useful, like kidney dialysis machines for sick kids, but it's a hell of a lot of money to spend on pointless virtue signalling, especially when London's transport system has a shortfall of £500 million. As a Londoner, I don't want to be engaged with by some wanky overpaid consultancy. I want to pay less tax, buy a house maybe at some point, and not get stabbed. Can't Sadiq focus on that? And all this talk of underrepresented groups is bollocks, when these seem to be the only groups allowed any representation. If Sadiq really wanted to elevate marginalised people in London, he'd have a Cockney line, and it would take you to a better place than Sadiq Khan's London. Anyway, thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe, and consider becoming a patron if you want to. No problem if you don't, no pressure. Anyway, I've been Leo Kears. Bye. Bye bye.